I'm the host like the Tana, the Sukkel, Vavahayam, and Aleph, the Iker, Toli, Beheter, Afila. In other words, when it says by Abulov and Esrog, it says by Lachem. So he said, Lachem, according to that Tana, means that you have a heter to eat it. Then Mammon lo be'inen. But you don't have to have mammonis in it to be considered Lachem. Okay, and the chelik would be okay, Yotzi Yidei Chovas Esrog, the Meiser Sheni. In other words, even if you hold the Meiser Sheni is not your mammon, but you definitely have a mitzvah to eat it because you take it to Yerushalayim and you eat. So it has so that man number says you're Yotzi with an Esrog of Meiser Sheni because it's considered Lachem. In Cain, L'chora. So therefore he's saying if we consider the din of Bechor like Esrog, came L'chor Bechor Shenolad B'Behema Treifa Shenitrafa Achar Ha-Ibur. So the mother at the time of the Ibur wasn't a Treifa, but she became a Treifa later. Yia Pater B'Bechora. Why? Kivin De'ein Ha'em Ru'uyo L'Achila. Because it says over there B'Korcha, so we say. And he says, look, a treifa, even if you're only animal, but you don't have a heter achila. In other words, according to this time, he's saying it's nothing to do with the mammonis. You always look at the heter achila. So since this child was born, the Bechor was born to a mother who was a treifa, even though it's after the child was conceived, but still, kiva the aim roy lachila, because it's a treifa, lo havi bekorcha, because bekorcha means that's the same like a dresha of l'cha, and l'cha isn't totally in mammon, he says, according to the time, it's totally in if it's edible. Called miknecha, I guess it's either dresha of bekorcha or miknecha. To lo havi shalo, in this, the mother wouldn't be considered shalo, even she'ein bo heter achila. And Sukkot that according to this number, it's totally in the heter achila. Korachach, Kamosha Kasabnu Lamala, the Kan lo be'inin klal shalo, because that's what he remember he ended up, that was hefker. He said there's a din of Bechor by Behemoth's hefker. Right. So he said, Bechor, you don't need shalo. Rak, it's a meat, even though it says Bekorcha. Rak goy the hektish, yalfen kroy. So it says Shalchoa, not Shal Hektish, and Bekorcha, not Shal Goy, but it doesn't mean you have to have any kind of Lachem, because even Hefker is good. Avalo be'inin Lachem, she'yi Heter Achila. V'lo matzina she'Bechor, she'nolad mitreifa, lo ya Kadosh Bechora. Ela Korchach, Moshe Kasabdu, that in Cain, it's going back to what he said before by Hefker, and Behemoth's Hefker, Nami, Chayev, it's the Lo be'inin Lachem. Because he's saying if hefker is chayiv, it means we do darshan. If the hefker is not chayiv, that means we darshan the korcha, and you would need shalachem. And according to this Tana, you would need a heter achila. And if the mother was a trever, there shouldn't be din bechor. Rak hektish, but we don't need lachem. It's just rak hektish v'goy ismatu. Kain nirafin yistaiti borer. So when we learned about hefker, he also said it was borer that hefker is chayiv. And the note on the bottom, someone said later on he changes his mind. So he's still borer that hefker is chayiv. He didn't change his mind yet. So anyway,
you're saying that the uber
is not a treifa because the uber was conceived when the mother wasn't a treifa.
So even though, so you're talking about that it was shechted. So therefore.
So when Bechor was born, the mother was a treifa.
Right.
And if there was a din of Bekorcha, that means it has to be born from Bekorcha, which has to have a heter achila. And if the mother at the time of the birth was a treifa, she doesn't have a heter achila.
But this wouldn't be birth. This is time of shechita, right? Because they're talking about the umer. Or are you saying?
We're talking about the Bechor when it's born.
But the mother's already a treifa.
Right. She became a treifa after the child was. Right. So
she became a treifa
while she was pregnant.
But she wasn't shechted. We're not talking about.
We're not talking about shechita. We're not talking about shechita at all.
We're not talking about. Okay, we're not talking about ben Petura. We're talking about.
Yeah, the Bechor was born. The question is, the mother is a treifa. Is there a din of Bechor on this Bechor? So he says, if there would be a din of shalcha on the mother, so then she's a treifa. And this Tana holds shalcha means you have to have a heter achila. So the mother was a treifa, so there's no heter achila, so there won't be a kedushas b'chor.
Because the child, no, the animal is also treifa. The animal.
Not because the animal's not a treifa. The animal's not a treifa at all. But
right. That's what I'm trying to say. The animal's not a treifa.
Right.
But the fact is you're saying that
it has to be from Bekorka. So it says over there the Bechor of Bekorka. So the mother has to be.
So the mother can't be a treifa, right? Okay.
So he's saying if Bekorka means that you have to own it, and Lachem, according to that time, means a heter achila. So the treifa doesn't have a heter achila. Right.
Right, and therefore that. But the fact
and
is,
yet we never find such a thing.
Right.
So he's saying must be. There's no. Why don't we find such a thing? So he's saying must be, like he's saying all along. There is no din of lachem at all. They don't darshan l'chor. We only use l'chor to exclude hektish and goy, but hefker is not chayav. So there is no din of lachem. So it's not sushtal to esrog. There's a din of lachem, which that time holds lachem means you have to have heter achila. But over here, there is no such thing of lachem. And even though it says bakor, kor, mikdacha, it's just a miyat, la fuki hektish, or goy. And his raya is because, like he said before, because hefker is chayav. So you see, there is no din of
But okay, so if she netrapa akar ha'ibor, but if she was treif, she already had found it to be treif before.
Before she conceived, then the bechor would be like a treif.
See, that's what's getting me. If she was already a treifa before,
then he's saying the uber would be a treifa.
And let's say she lives and gives birth, that calf would have a din of a treifa.
That's what he's saying, yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, it would seem to be interesting because he's making a chiluk in whether you conceive as a treifa or not conceive as a treifa. That's I mean, how do you even know that? And if you find an animal to be a treifa, you have to go check out all the calves. So you shecht an animal, you find it's a treifa, so and you know that it has that these are its calves.
He talked before about the mother being a treifa, right? He once had that.
I was just thrown out because he said shnitrafa achar yibor.
Yeah, because that's what I understood, that the mother was a treifa when it was conceived. There wouldn't be. Didn't he speak about the before of a treifa once? We had that once before.
I think so. You say he was talking about that before, right?
Trying to find it.
Okay, I seem to have a behemoth where some mice shiny.
Hard for me to really.
He said there's a paragraph that begins with Ayin Sham Od Shel Pilpul, where he talks about Meiser Sheni.
And I want to find it if he talks about the core of the trait, I think. through it fast and I can't find it. Let's go back to the look at the phone thing because it would spend the whole night figuring it out.
I
see what's better, yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, my question is not really if you shecht an animal and find it's a treifa, if we could just assume that that's a chazaka until you actually find it. So therefore, you don't assume any child she had beforehand is not a treifa. I mean, the fact is that I just find that interesting. That's all. It says at the bottom, "V'hu b'gmara treifa have b'chor." If the b'chor, the treifa still has a din of the b'chor. Yafal pi shagam havlad sarach uyos shel Yisrael. If there's a din of b'chorcha, muchach shagam treifa b'chol b'chora. Being came, became shekain, who had been treifa sheyolda, the mother was a treifa, benos kaddish b'chora, because I guess he's saying it must be there's no din of b'chora, we don't say that in this heter. But it doesn't talk about if it was a treifa, the mother was a treifa before, it became a treifa afterwards, and he doesn't discuss that at all. But there must be, I mean, Minchas is certainly making that chiluk. I don't know, so you're asking what is that based on? Yeah, there's something about it. I mean, I understand the fact what you're saying is the Kedusha's Bechor enters a conception. Right?
Down the door or something, huh? It's terrible, huh? Oh, bad boys.
And at the bottom, he makes the difference between Esther and the treifa. He doesn't go into this chiluk because it's born when it was a treifa, or it was conceived when it was a treifa, or not. So that I have to look up to find out what he's talking about. But his main point is that it's not that. His main point is that since there's no, if there would be a din of b'chor, so according to that Tana by Esther, you need a heter achila. So the same thing would be true over here, and since you see there is no din of heter achila. So it must be, because there is no din of b'chor, it must be, and that's right, but hefker is high by b'chor. But what you're asking about, what's the difference when it was, when it was the treifa, before it was conceived the b'chor or after? I don't really know, so I'm going to have to look up what he means. I thought he talked about treifa before, but I couldn't find it.
But he's saying, but the animal is not kosher because it was born to a treifa. So it's at the time of childbirth. It is the din of achila. No, what am I
So
saying?
the animal is kosher.
The animal is kosher. The child.
But it has to be a bekorcha, and if the mother is not called bekorcha, so then there wouldn't be a
Right.
It's not called bekorcha because she wasn't royal.
Because she's not right. It's nothing to do. I get that.
And the bottom is machalik. It could be the whole din of royal achila is only by yesrog. Maybe bechor is different. It's worse than machalik. But the Minchas Chinuch isn't being machalik. He's saying whatever is bechor by yesrog. If there would be a din of bechor by bechor, it would have the same rules, and you would need a hefter. You would need a hefter achila.
Right.
No, I think I saw a story, but when I read it, I understood that could be an esrog, which is a fruit. So maybe there we say l'chor the ikar, the fruit is l'achila, so you have to have a heter achila by an animal. You know, it's not the ikar is to eat. I mean, it works and everything like that. So maybe there's no din. Maybe there you don't say to be l'chor. You need a heter achila. In other words, it could be the whole purpose of a fruit is.
You see, from chametz, the whole issue is that you get hana from it. The fact of the matter is what.
So it could be some shayfa, so it could be over here by an animal.
Yeah.
There's no din. It's not totally in the heter achila. He's sushtaling. Whatever l'chor means by yesrog, l'chor means by. If there would be a din l'chor by animals, or by bechor, what else? They need a heter achila. I don't know, but I see in the bottom there machalik that one is not. Could be it's not. I could read it to you. He says where the Minchas Chinuch is going that this mandamber that says l'chor means heter achila, and therefore any place where there's no heter achila it's not called l'chor. He says the mocker for that is because Rashi and Tosafos says sheim ein bo heter achila l'chashiv lachem. So therefore he's saying this is in lachem. If there would be din of l'chor by bechor also, so you need a heter achila. Ach yesh mirishonim shepirshu tirei Gemara. The hard the esrog shel orla pasel. The Gemara says an esrog orla is pasel. They may say because not because you can't eat it and it's not l'chem. They say because it's ksusim etish shira. And according to those Rishonim, ein makor the chisar heter achila takes away the din of lachem because they're learning the whole reason orla is no good because it's ksusim at the shira since it has to be burnt. Yesh sheherik le'ochiach b'das Rashi v'Rambam shedin zeh shel lachem emai davar shein bo heter achila. Din zeh, and some people say that even if you learn the Gemara that way, you need the heter achila. It's din zeh mesuyim b'esrog. It's only a special din by esrog, and it had nothing to do with the case of bechor, even if you would need bechor. So they don't. But he doesn't say why they say it's the din mesuyim by esrog. So I was thinking that because esrog is a fruit, so maybe the ikar is the heter achila here. And it's the yesha kasa shlo amar Rashi Tosafos she'isra achila megarev lachem el b'davar she'im hoyim siyas einu roy lachila hayem mispatel shmo. To go on isa, if you would have an isa made of matzah, where you need lachem by matzah, so if it became not roy lachila, it wouldn't be called an isa's matzah. In other words, doesn't mean it has to be mutter b'achila, but it has to be roy lachila.
Right.
Oh, esrog she'enim re'uyim lachila s'adam. That's called not lachem. So so there the point is it's not roy lachila. Loses chashivas of matzah, loses its chashivas of the esrog.
It's an interesting idea because he's saying it's almost like a shinu shame. In other words, if it's not really the chila, it's not really chametz anymore. I mean, it's not really matzah. So is an esrog that's not roy lachila? Would you? I mean, it's a little bit. You know what I mean? It's.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
And they're saying lachem is like ninyan shinu shame.
Yeah, which is dark.
No, yeah, right.
So they're arguing. So it comes up by an animal just because it's a treif and you're not allowed to eat it, but it's not. There's no shinu shem sheikra balas mishem taras ochel shebahim. Oh, behema royal. He says there the eager biolus of an esrog or matzah because it's an ochel, so that's the lachem said ochel. Well, behema really use avoda and other things. Gam kasheinu roy lachila b'mitzias like it's a treifa. Still has a shame of behema. I wasn't thinking about the shame of behema. I was just thinking that.
In terms of, I think yours words in terms of the ikar hana. Hana is tied more to lachem.
Right.
The fact is that
they're told
shame.
The truth is, there's a number over there. He says, Kelos Yaakov, it's a stapler in Kedushin. Nishisham, it's Arachin.
Yisroel is I like Yisroel because you see by Lachem there's an Indian of Lachem has to have some type of hana in there.
Right.
I mean, so the fact is that you could from an esrog you could still get hana from smelling or something like that. But the fact is still the yikar is the
that's not what he's saying. He's going into the
Chinuch thing, which I think is a little deichik in terms of Lachem. I mean,
okay. So the only thing we covered this paragraph. The only thing I have to figure out is what's the difference when it became a treifa or not. Do we have to know? He's obviously referring to something which I'm not aware of what it's telling.
I keep getting thrown off by the fact. I mean, the bechor. It's interesting what he's saying is that the conception of a bechor, but the shein bechor. See, what's interesting also is a bechor needs petarecha, right? Given by an animal, right? So the fact that the Kedushas Bechor coming from so he seems to be saying that it's a concept at conception, but the truth is really in other words, if you somehow did a cesarean on this animal, it wouldn't be a Bechor, right? So so how can you say Kedushas Bechor comes at conception when it's really totally on childbirth? I mean, it's just I'm finding.
Where does he say before it's totally conception?
He says the trapa acher ha'ibur.
Yes, so I thought he meant. I don't know where it comes from. I thought he meant because if the mother was a treifa at the time of the Ibur, it itself would be like a treifa.
Well, so that raises the issue.
So that's what we have to find out, but that has nothing to do with the Kedushas Bechor.
So that's saying that I think that's what's bothering me. Why would the child be a treifa? I mean, to begin with, I mean,
that's
the fact is,
if the mother's a treifa, what makes a child a treifa? So that's numbers that we have to look up.
Even without this idea of conception. I mean, if you find an animal to be a treifa, I guess that's what I'm wondering about. I mean, why? How does a child become a treifa?
That was your question at the beginning. So that we have to see where that comes from.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to do with the Kedushas Bechor. He just wanted to make a case where the mother's a treifa and the Bechor isn't a treifa, and that's what he wanted to make a case where the mother's a treifa and the Bechor is not a treifa.
Right.
So the Bechor is roy lachila and the mother's not roy lachila.
Right.
So for some reason, in the case if it was Nishiva before, the Bechor would also be a treifa. I don't know why. So that we have to figure out.
Okay. So I mean. So there's really two questions. How does he come to this idea of the Kedushas Bechor being tied to the conception?
Who said that? Where does he say that he has the sword?
In order to make this chilek, he has to. Oh no.
No, he wants him. He's just saying he wants to make a case where the mother is a treifa and the Bechor isn't a treifa.
So therefore, the mother.
So therefore, the Bechorcha is going on the mother, and if she's not roy lachila, so we should exclude this case of being Bechor. So you see, we don't make that drasha. But he was just looking for a case where the mother is a treifa and the child isn't.
Which comes down to the question of how do you transfer this concept of treifa. I mean, that's.
Yeah, well, that's your first question, right? Where
I guess I'm getting thrown off by this whole. I mean, I guess that's where it starts with, but then he's saying he's trafa acher Hebrew, but that's a din in Bechor.
Because then he's saying the Bechor wouldn't be a treifa, but at the time of the birth, the mother's a treifa. So if there would be a drasha Bechorcha, that has to be roy lachila, so there wouldn't be a Kedushas Bechor. Even the Bechor has no shaykhs to the treifa. But it says Bechorcha, it has to be. It has to be nola to Bechorcha, and the mother is not Bechorcha. It's not roy lachila. But it's nothing to do with Kedushas Bechor. I don't know what you mean.
I'm so, but he's making because
he wants to make a case where the mother is a treifa and the Bechor is not a treifa, And still, if you would darshan bekorcha, that has to be royal achila, so the mother would have to be royal achila. And
so the mother
comes at the time of the birth.
So the child's a treifa. The child is not a treifa because it was conceived
after. Not a treifa, right? And the mother wasn't a treifa.
So I guess that's okay.
So that's your problem. But
right.
If it was conceived while it was a treifa, it would be a treifa. So where does that come from? So
right. But it has nothing to do with Kedushas Bechor.
It's nothing to do with Kedushas Bechor.
Yeah, Kedushas Bechor is at the time of birth. Yeah. And he's just saying this child can't get Kedushas Bechor because it already has an Isra Chila.
If the mother has
yeah.
And it's not royal achila, so it's not called Bechor.
But somehow it says he has to come up with this idea that it was conceived after, for it to, because otherwise, okay, if it was conceived well she was a treifa, then for sure she'd be a treifa.
Bechor would be a treifa. Yeah, I don't know why you're asking.
Yeah, right. I understand that.
I hear it.
I mean, okay. I guess the whole thing is just throwing me off. It's just I'm finding it so strange. Okay.
So where are we up to?
So
Yesh lefalpa b'nin meiser shena d'psachim u'mevavo d'kam l'kam l'fein kan l'kam.
Right.
V'mashe klasa Rabbi Mechaber be'eze inyan niftera. That's the chinuch. What the chinuch's words were. What the chinuch's word was. Such as only chinuch. B'din b'chor Shechin Yisrael u'shutim Torah be'eze inyan niftera ha-behema min ha-b'chora o lo niftera. So he says, Ayin Rambam Perik David b'chora Savator Shulchan Aruch Neradaya. When it becomes pater from Bechor and when it doesn't, then Maharich B'dinim L'vorim B'Shulchan Aruch is not going into that.
It's 909.
Wow. It's just a one little paragraph because we didn't learn much of Bechor something. Ein Rambam Kan Perik Ha'elach Obeis the Aim Akriv and also be something because if it's not a Bechor, it's cool Bazara. Rak Yira, since it is a suffix Bechor Yira Chayipa B'Mum B'Yochal B'Balos. Because even though normally only going to eat the Balmum, but here it's a suffix if it's a Bechor. If we suffix against her, I wouldn't know the coin, then what's a Chera or a Raya. The Yim Tafsu Kohen, well, after Toko, when it was Toko, it's Toko Kohen. That's a Rambam Sham, the Ein Motzim B'Yado, that's the famous Rambam Shita, the Toko Kohen, he can keep it, you can't take it away from him. Rishon Chol, Tokim, and they hold no, that then it's Toko Kohen Motzim, Yadu Badwarim Hatikim. Okay, so we're